Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order, March 24th, 2025, Jefferson County Board of Tourism. If you all be so kind to stand up, remove your hats. Let's get the Pledge of Allegiance here. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we head on to our third agenda item here, which is why a lot of you all are here, I encourage everyone, once we kind of give an idea of what we discussed, what we're looking for, those awards to those applicants and recipients, just head out when you're done. Like I said last week, I mean, unless you want to hang out. So once you hear your name, or at least, you know how people say, hey, round of applause till the end. Like, wait until the 26, 28 are mentioned, then we'll take a little small pause and you can head out. But before we begin, a couple things. One is there's a guy that constantly gives back to this community, just a heck of a nice guy. His birthday is today, Bob Day.
Again, put that in your article.
Bob, thank you
Happy birthday, Bob.
Are we gonna sing?
Well, let's do it. Start it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you. Yay. Commissioner David Bramer, if you would be so kind to share with everybody, those recipients that are receiving the money, how do they get their checks?
You need to send me an email with an invoice. My email's on the county website. Don't send it to the auditor. Don't send it to our admin assistant. She'll know not what to do with it. So send it to me, david.bramer@jeffersoncounty.in.gov. And then, and then I will submit the claim, and then we'll get your check. You can, if you'd like, some have direct deposit, or if not, we'll either mail it to you, or you can pick it up at the auditor's office. So it'll need to go to a commissioner meeting, but your next one is when's the next one?
Last week.
Yeah, so it's the first Thursday in April. So it'll be that Friday when the checks will be written. So you can pick them up, or we'll put them in the mail.
And thank you for that. Also, in order to go back through the grant cycle, the recipients, we want to know what you did with that money and why. We want you to visit VMI, Andrew Forrester, Sarah Purcell, and figure out what was our return on investment, what was your return on investment, what was the economic impact with the monies that you were granted. I mean, out of courtesy to you guys, like, we've never had this many applications. We've never had this much ask. So you got to bob and weave. Like, those are the discussions that we had, and we got to kind of funnel it down. If you don't, it's just going to be a shotgun approach, right? So out of fairness, I want to at least real quickly before I read them off, kind of explain what we discussed. We're looking for tangible assets. We're looking for infrastructure. We're looking for investments. We're looking for something that each festival can share. For example, last year we invested, and you get to rent it from VMI like a library card. Last year we took a look at wireless router. That helps out. That helps our community, our festivals, our events. Chautauqua, I think, or Riverfest, one of them said something about walkie-talkies. Like, what are new walkie-talkies? What's the price? And can everybody use them? Check them out at VMI. Like, Like those are assets, right, that our community can utilize. New ideas, new events, just to fill in those gaps. I mean, there's 52 weeks in the year, and it helps out with economic impact, helps heads and beds, and it helps out businesses. So filling in those gaps, that's not discounting the existing ones at all. Those are vitally important, right? That we looked at all the applications and we noticed, and we've created this, we've allowed this, but we want to kind of funnel it down. The word marketing, people are asking for 500 in marketing and $3,000 in marketing and 20 grand in marketing. Like, that's so general, just marketing. Like, we pay a bunch of money to VMI to market. Like, go and talk to VMI about marketing, sit down with them about marketing. And if Andrew calls us or Sarah calls us or submits something and says, hey, out of these 28 applications, 12 events and festivals came to us, and we need you guys to help fund a new marketing person at VMI, like give us an opportunity to have that conversation, because that's going to save money in the aggregate, right? If you're going to buy a commercial at the Super Bowl, I know how much that costs, but like that's a specific ask, right? Like there's a specific ask, like ask something specific, but $5,000 for social media and blah, blah, blah. Like, we've allowed that in the past. We got to start funneling down to more specifics and how we can share, right? And we even, I mentioned to a few of the board members, even having an idea doesn't mean we don't invest in certain things, but having a conversation this year about themes. I think Bethany Legacy does mental health. It doesn't mean they don't fund other stuff or look at other stuff, but at least it gives some form of idea, right? Like I'd like on this board to have those conversations. One of the things that we chose to do, I mean, guys, we looked at your all's applications and they were fantastic. They were really good applications. They really were. And I was telling my son and daughter, like tonight we're going to give out iPhone 16s to some people and iPhones 8s to other people, but you get to talk, so that's cool. The applications are fantastic. We voted on, having a budget of 450 grand, and we were going to give 350 now and 100 in August. We chose to give 450 now. Like, the applications were that strong. We're going to have to go back to county council and ask for some money. I don't know if that's 25, if that's 50, but and I'll mention when I'm going down, like, ones that I would encourage to come back. Not everybody I would encourage, because we won't have that caliber of money, right? But we wanted to inject that now. We felt like that was vitally important to grease this engine and let's get going, right? So, anybody have anything to add to that?
I'll add something.
So without further ado, we'll just go ahead and run through it, and I'll mention some few things that we've discussed along the way. There were two that we didn't fund, but moving on, Salvation Army Poker Run, $2,000. Juneteenth Celebration, $2,500. Radio Theater, $3,000. Eleutherian College, $4,000. Main Street Wayfinding, $4,000 for the maps. We're going to give the City of Madison Wayfinding their ask of $40,000, and we need Madison Main Street and the city to partner and regarding that signage, but we will give Madison or Main Street Wayfinding $4,000 for their maps specifically. We like the artist rendering that was presented. So moving on, Riverfront Development, Poker Run, $5,000. Riverfest, $10,000. Chautauqua, $10,000. Nights Before Christmas, $10,000. We would encourage you to possibly come back in August for the additional 3 to 5, but we would like for you guys to start trending towards more digitizing. Not saying all in, just saying kind of trending. And explain that to us if you do choose to come back. The Bicentennial restrooms, It's infrastructure, it's vitally important. They asked for 15 grand, gave them 15 grand. Casa Car Show, it's your first year, $18,000. $7,500 to the visitor profile. We committed that last year. Kindred Folk Society, we appreciated you guys linking up with M3 last year and getting monies for the porch sessions. We would encourage you to expand those porch sessions. This year, we'll give you $7,000. Main Street Farmers Market, $10,000. Jefferson County Historical Society, we would encourage you to take a look at coming back in August as well. We'll give you $12,000. Regatta, we're given $10,000. HMI, we would encourage you to come back in August as well. We're going to give $11,000. The Madison Wayfinding, I said, partner with Main Street, $40,000. Mad Hop, we're given $15,000. We committed last year to the trolley. We're going to pay another $75,000. Madison Traffic Control to protect guests and existing people here, residents here, $25,000. Madison Rodeo, we're given $12,000. Madison Music Movement, we would like to see more buskers, and right now we would encourage you to come back in August, but we'll give you $22,000. Madison Area Arts Alliance, we would encourage you to come back in August. We're given $40,000. Unbroken Circle, your first year, we would like to provide and award $30,000. And Friends of Ohio, Ohio Theater is a pillar. And a main thoroughfare. We think you're vitally important as an asset, and we would like to award $50,000. So, thank you all for being here. Again, before you can apply for another round, we would encourage you to gather that data from VMI, and you have to come back and present to us. So, for those that would like to stay, cool. For those that want to leave, thank you all for the opportunity to be a part of your vision for this community.
Thank you all for your time. Carry on.
Sir. That's all right. Thanks, man. Hey, we're going to set something up, obviously this year, I mean, we're sold out. Yeah, that's awesome. So, years in the future, because I have no doubt you're going to just get bigger.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
Appreciate you, man.
All right,
Yeah,
see you.
thanks for coming.
Bye, guys.
Ma'am?
You go out with one, you gotta leave, sir. See you soon, you gotta leave.
Have a great
Oh,
day.
no. It's just us two.
I think so.
Trevor, just for bookkeeping, can you say the notes? You said there were 2 notes, but you didn't say who they were.
The Earth Cam project and the golf cart.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Great job, board. Moving on. Approval of minutes from 17th of February 2025. Rena, thank you for providing those.
Give you up December's also.
That is true. Yeah, I apologize. She sent out December's as well. She gathered that info. Hey, thank you for being persistent and getting that from Wendy. I appreciate it. Yeah, December 2024 is presented and February 17th, 2025. Would we like to make a motion?
I move that we accept both minutes as presented.
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So moved. Treasurer's report, Dr. David Bramer, attorney at law.
Attorney at large.
Hey, you might as well book it.
All right, so for February, the county received $55,780.20 for the innkeeper tax, both of those. We do have two claims. One is for the next quarter for VMI expenses, $87,880. And then a marketing claim totaling $16,985.41. So, I submit those as the treasurer's report and the claims.
Would anyone like to make a motion as the treasurer's report is presented?
I'll make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? So moved. Dave, thank you as always.
Dave?
Keep everybody on their toes. They may not know who you are right now. VMI update.
All right, you wanna go with marketing first, Sarah, you wanna do that, or
We could go marketing, sure.
whatever?
And you sent out the marketing a while ago.
I did.
Yep.
Lots going on, you guys. Doing everything we can to increase destination visibility for Madison and Jefferson County, and driving these overnight stays and supporting our tourism partners along the way. With that. As you guys may have seen, we've sent you emails. We're nominated for that best small town in the Midwest. So just keep voting. They no longer show ranking as of today. So we have another week until they close that on next Monday, the 31st at noon. So keep going, and hopefully we'll have that to have a consecutive year of having that accolade, and to add to our marketing for the next year. So keep going with that. In addition to that, we had some marketing that was out there for USA Today that didn't include us from 24, and so I kind of, balked a little bit about it, and we got some additional media coverage for that. And we worked with the travel writer, and we had that article you guys may have seen and passed around, and so that was due to us just like saying, hey, you guys made a little error there, like what can you do? And so that editorial is now an evergreen article that's in the USA Today. Over 200 networks are available to it. So people are picking it up and printing it. It's evergreen. So it's exciting for additional exposure going forward on that. It also was sent in a newsletter for USA Today to over 500,000 subscribers. So just excited to get that coverage as well. Expanding on our digital advertising, we're getting ready to start on April 1st, that's next Tuesday, our 5-month Google display campaign. So driving those in overnight markets. We just released a series of campaigns last week for Reverie Roads and Serpent 62. Really our goal is to try to just increase those followers, because it's, it's such a new product and experience that we're really just trying to push that. So you might have seen that out there, as well as Get Married to Madison that we already had in our constant calendar. We will be also starting some Facebook forum campaigns, which will, you may have seen that where it says Facebook forum. We're going to do it for requesting a guide and for signing up for our newsletter to try to increase our first party data for our email marketing. The other couple of items that we had major media for was, we had the ad in the Roadrunner Spring Destination. It's already, that just got released last Thursday. We have 50 scans on that already. That was a unique concept that we presented to the editor-in-chief, and to try to evoke the emotion of when they, they're flipping through the book and they get to our page and they're like, oh, ready to take some turns, and they go like this. It gives you that feeling and that evoking emotion of turning the wheel. And so, and you're going around a curve. So
it creates engagement.
It does. And so they liked it, and we were excited that they let us move forward with printing it that way, because you're like, wait a minute, it's sideways. So you're welcome to check that out and get the feeling.
I guess I could have been Dana for you.
You could have been Dana.
I should have been Dana.
Or Pat. Or Ryan Seacrest, or whoever that is now. We also, I don't have, the issue will be delivered probably in the next week, but We've been doing that inside cover of Travel Indiana magazine, which includes some of the other digital stuff that goes along with that. And this next one, we will be featuring the Crystal Beach Aquatic Park. So this ad will be on the inside cover of that magazine and all the things that go with that. So we're excited about having that in the spring issue to encourage people to see us as a, having a water destination attraction and that kind of stuff. So there's that. And one of the other magazines that they've been calling me for 2 years, I finally decided to work with them and get some information from our other colleagues around the state. But this is a national magazine called Travel, Taste, and Tour. I bought a package, got them down to $3,000 as you've seen in my invoice. There's digital marketing, we have paid social. This will live on their website. There was also an editorial. There's a very nice spread in here for charming small towns. In the back here, let's see here. Well, it did, there we go. This is sold in international airports, as well as Barnes and Nobles, Books A Million. It's also a part of that, oh gosh, what's it called? I forgot, it's the database that the library subscribed to. So it's a lot of different databases that are out there. They're like a search and database company that can provide e-journals to different companies and doctor's offices and such.
Doesn't sound like a lot of people here went to the library.
Well, I'm not sure I even really knew what it was until I was explained it. It's like called EBSCO or something.
EBSCO-host.
What was it?
It's EBSCO-host.
Thank you, EBSCO.
The historian has been to the library.
Yes, there you go. So we're excited about all this national, a lot of it, is paid publication, paid media, but also we have some incremental as well. The marketing in the, social media engagement is still growing at a really great pace. Instagram, again, it's really great to have the bandwidth. It's great to have Lindsay in there supporting everything that I'm doing, taking the initiative to do things. Instagram's up 234% over last February. Facebook's up 86. We had another board member kind of remind me today in the other meeting about TikTok and we have our account, we've been doing stuff, but do we need to really sit down and strategize on exactly where we fit in that and how we would, approach it and continue doing that. Which I know, I'm trying not to take your thunder, but I've been working with Andrew on the visitor profile study. We released that and we're really excited about that going. It started. So happy to be able to get that information, immerse it into how we approach our marketing plan and how we can make some adjustments and start to really target get the feedback from people and intertwine that with what we're doing. We started working recently on creating our own micro influencer local creator plan. And so we've identified a few talented people that have come across through UGC on our social platforms. And we're working with them on a very local basis on how we can have a continual relationship with them over time. And so we're doing some trial and we're vetting them right now. And so we're really excited about what that looks like.
Can I have a couple of questions real quick, Sarah? And this might be for both of you, but on the influencers, are we putting them in a contract?
Yes, always.
Okay.
And it comes from us first.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And then the second question is with trolleys, are we waiting for the second trolley, and I might be out of the loop on this, no pun intended, but are we doing any type of scheduled trolley stops or starting with collateral?
And he has an update for that.
Okay, good.
We've all been working on it as a team. We have regular trolley meetings. I'm working very intimately with the branding, the look and all that, but then we all as a team get together and meet, and Lucy and him talk about this. But you can give them that update. Yeah, absolutely. It was in there somewhere. But a lot of exciting things going on. Always happy to meet with you guys or email or whatever if you ever have any questions.
Cool. Sounds like you guys are really hitting on all cylinders.
It really is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
It is.
Good job, good work.
We've had a lot of people calling for reservations because they have seen the USA Today ad.
Awesome.
And they want to come to Madison to see it because they
That's
have.
great. I like hearing that. Awesome. Thank you guys. And I dreamed Jim, you had to hear that twice today,
The content, stuff that's being pushed out, it's,
Can you follow Jim out this vehicle?
it's, the content that's coming out of that marketing office is great, it's huge. So, really appreciate the continued support, Board of Tourism, in our initiatives there, and hopefully continue to give you the information and the data that you want to be able to make good decisions about where we can market and really focus more. I'm excited about that visitor profile. That's a process they said should be done in the next 8 weeks. So we should have data back ready to share sometime in May. So that's exciting. We can start moving on that. A couple things first about the grant process. Thank you for all of your hard work that went into that. I know it takes a lot to review all of those. You know, I don't know the specifics of all the applications, but I can tell from what they all said about their projects at last week's meeting, there's a lot of really cool things happening in Madison and Jefferson County. And let's take a minute to just say how cool it is that there's so many organizations that see tourism as an important aspect to what they're doing. And that's the cool thing. I didn't hear any bad idea, any bad project. It's all really cool. It's just gonna, now with all that comes great responsibility to come back, just like we have to come back, check in and say, hey, what is this doing? How is this moving the needle? And so I'm excited to work with them. I feel like I helped probably 12 to 15 different groups that came in, asked for information leading up to the grant, said, hey, we need placer data. We need, what was your occupancy rate? What was this? What was that? Happy to do it. That's what we're there for. And so we'll continue to do that. I appreciate you mentioning that to them because we're always willing to give information and data. So
Thank you, sir.
so a couple things here.
I think, Andrew, if you don't mind, like, one of the cool things about 28 applications is, you know, and Todd Boone, a couple years ago, initiated JCTA, or the idea of it, and you and Jessica kind of just latched onto it and really pushed it, and I know Kim has kind of helped cultivate it from time to time, but thank you all for that, because that behind the scenes grassroots work is what creates all of this. You know, it really does, and then it's our job to kind of funnel and herd the cattle in.
No, it does.
But great job to you and Jess for maintaining that. Thank you.
Jess keeps me on my toes on that. Make sure I don't.
She does, no doubt.
Yeah, she does a great job.
I think the real thing that was really the coolest was though that we had lots of first-time applicants. And people that are in our community that we just hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
That's the part that I was really excited about, so.
That's right.
Well, Dave and I had a chance to talk about other opportunities that are out there as well, which we'll be excited about in August.
Absolutely.
Other people that are forgotten, so.
But yeah, there's still other things. If you can believe it, there's 25 more initiatives that would be really cool that need some support. So, speaking of great partnerships, I was really happy that the Preservation Conference, that of course this board invested in, getting here, that won Best Group Partnership at the state level at Indiana Tourism Conference. We're really proud of that. You know, it took a lot of people, it took a lot of work between the hotels, between our nonprofit organizations. Felicia Crisafulli led the volunteer board.
Volunteers.
That we have volunteers here in the room that help make it happen. You know, HMI, the History Center, like everybody came together to make that happen. So the award is a testament to the hard work of this community in doing those conferences and conventions. So really proud of that. That happened earlier this month. While I'm talking about awards, save the date for Thursday, May 8th, 5:30. We sent out an email just a little bit ago. That's our annual tourism awards. Second year of that in its current form. And so we're gonna be not only doing tourism awards that night, we will also have our 2024 annual report available. Hopefully, we may have some data from the visitor profile by then. And then we also will be announcing the trolley programming that night as well. And so we've been hard at work behind the scenes trying to put together what that looks like from regular tours free routes, some paid events, special events throughout the year. And so we hope to have that ready to launch that night and going with a big splash. Obviously, some things we aren't able to do until we get that second trolley here, but with that being pushed to July when we'll get that, we just need to go ahead and get things rolling. So we've been we've had a lot of private rentals so far of the trolley. This last weekend and the weekend before, it was almost constant. We had some on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but hopefully we can do a little bit more.
What'd you say the conference was? I thought I had that in my notes, but I don't.
Which one?
You're talking about
The realtor one?
No.
No, I know the
He
realtor
means
one.
the awards thing.
Yeah, the tourism.
Yes.
Where you're gonna talk a little bit about?
Yes, May
You
8th,
said
Thursday, May 8th. Yep, at 5:30, well, 5:30 will start the reception, 6 o'clock, awards and comments.
Where?
We'll have it down at Visit Madison.
Okay.
So be sure to come to that, we're excited.
If you feel like you need to you wanna nominate, the links are in your all's email.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want nominations. That's for frontline staff at our hotels, at our restaurants. We want to hear who's really making a difference and making a good impact with our visitors. And then we've got a number of other awards as well. So feel free to nominate people. We do have, really good, the numbers are looking really good this year. Placer individuals coming to Madison is down a little bit so far this year, but we're seeing longer stays, and we're seeing more overnights from the people who are coming, which is kind of cool. There's a new module, and I had a chance to show Matt when he was down about a month ago, new module on Placer that tracks overnight trips and overnight nights. And so I can go in and look at that. For a long time, I could only just see how many people were coming, how far they were coming from, and kind of estimate how many of those were staying overnight. And now we've got this module on Placer that's showing us that. And what's really cool is we're seeing not only the number of overnight trips are increasing, but the number of nights that people are staying are increasing. And so having that module is cool because some of that we can't see based on the occupancy data we get from CoStar. So we don't know how long people are staying. Some of that we can get from the AirDNA that we're getting from Airbnbs, but some of that's kind of guesswork. They're scraping the website, all that. So I'm really excited to see that Placer module. And again, it's something you guys pay for. It's a tool that helps us to see how we're doing. So
We had a visitor last week that came in town for the trolley crawl that has come the year before, and they, 2 or 3 couples from Cincinnati, and they were telling Lucy on the trolley last week that they just had to come, and they booked they had to come sooner, and they stayed 3 nights because they couldn't do it all. And so I feel like it's those things that are gonna impact over time. They get here and they come here for something else, and they're like, oh my gosh, we gotta come back. We don't have time to duck pinball and do all this thing stuff too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing, and we're hearing people that would have made a day trip now are saying, we're coming for 2 nights, or they were coming for 1 night, now it's 3. So that's really cool to hear some of those anecdotes. So then we also were working with the city on the comfort station, hope to get that launched here in early May as well. So hopefully a date for a ribbon cutting will be forthcoming, and I'll get that to you guys sometime soon. We are working on a few conferences that are coming up. Hoosier Writers Association will be here in early April, and so we're doing a little bit of things, help them make their stay a great stay, and hopefully they write some good content about Madison, Jefferson County while they're here. And of course, we have Indiana Association of Realtors. They will be here that same week that is National Travel and Tourism Week, that one where we're having the awards. So the Realtors will be here. That's also the Rebloom Conference that is happening at Richwood, and Kara and Colleen are working on that.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot coming that first week of May. So, I guess David Letterman used to say, hold on to your wigs and keys. And so that's gonna be a crazy week. So I think that's it. Any questions for me?
Can we ask questions?
Sure,
Is that appropriate?
sure, good.
On the staffing of the comfort station, is that gonna, how many days a week are we looking at in the hours, like approximate?
Trying to have it be 7 days a week, and I'd like to have it consistent days. Right now, we got like 45 applications for comfort station guest services, and we got like 45 applications for tour guide. I think one was like 43 and one was 47. But anyway, we got a lot of applications, a lot of interest. We've been doing interviews. The one thing we didn't get a ton of applications for was trolley driver. We have a few that are good, but didn't quite get 45. So that's a need. But we're working through those. We're making some phone calls, trying to figure out people that have applied that we think are really good. What's their schedule look like? What do we think needs to be, the ideal hours for that? And then how we can plug them in. So that's kind of where we're at. But we've been going through that for the last month. So it's coming along. It's a big, I tend to think blue sky, and I think, oh, we'll figure out the details later. And there's a lot of details. and there's a lot that's, with the trolley and the comfort station, it's a big undertaking to take on both of those for our organization. It's a big change, and our staff has just been phenomenal, taking it on, and there's just a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes to make those happen, from interviews to payroll to setting hours to the kinds of graphics that'll be on the windows at the comfort station to, do we need a changing table at the comfort station in the men's room? And, there's a lot of details to work out, and we're going through all of them, so.
So you'll be hiring new people, not using current staff?
Correct, we may move some of them back and forth as needed. My goal with both comfort station staff, tour guides, I wanna have a nice bench of people so that, if somebody calls off sick or somebody has a family emergency or whatever, there's some support there, that there's somebody to call and say, hey, I can't make it in, and it doesn't affect our operations, in a significant way. So,
Andrew, thank you so much.
yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
been good.
Thank you. Moving on here, the Tourism Alliance Committee update.
Our next meeting is April 16th. Did we decide to put the spot?
I don't know
It was
that
offered.
we,
It was offered.
it was offered.
It may be at the spot.
Okay,
We will let you know.
April 16th.
I always throw that out to everybody and say, who wants to host? And it's usually crickets,
Crickets.
but yes, we did have an offer in the spot.
Yes.
April 16th, the spot from 9 to 11, right? Yeah. Our next meeting is April 21st. We already had an audience call. Anybody else wanna?
I have one question.
Me too.
So does the February innkeeper's number compare well to last February?
I was wondering about that too.
55,000?
Yeah, it would still be over, in 2024, it was 35,668. So if you add the additional 3%, we would still be higher than, previous year.
Oh, I like it.
So that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, you're saying like longer stays versus, more tourists in the area, but I also think that could attribute to year-over-year seasonality. This February was much nicer last year, than it has been this year, so I think that plays a big role too, weather
Right.
this
Yep.
year.
Well, we look at, like Chautauqua, I mean, that threw our whole year's worth of numbers off, just one weekend weather, and
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So Andrew, earlier in the meeting, you mentioned the trolley and some stops, and I thought you were gonna talk about that, but did you talk about that?
No, just that we're working on the programming and where the stops would be and how frequent and what nights would be free routes, what days would be paid tours, what nights we'll have special events like the St. Patty's or Taco Trolley Trail, trying to bring that back, T3 as we call it. So we're working on that, and
TQ.
and we will be announcing that in early May.
Okay, thank you.
And you will be going to Hanover, right?
Yeah, they are
Okay.
part of our loop. Now, the frequency, we're still trying to work with Hanover, what frequency that is, especially while we have one trolley. You know, it's really hard to do a downtown loop and get out to Hanover and not make people wait. So we may not be starting a loop to Hanover until we get that second trolley here. So
But you're having regular conversations about the events that they want, and like, so they're involved.
Okay, good, good.
so we're talking to them about what do they, you know, on homecoming weekend, on graduation weekend, on, you know, we've got a sorority that wants to use it for an event. So, you know, various private events, but then they also have a regular bus route or van route that comes around town on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Monday and Thursday. And we've talked to them about, could we use the trolley for that rather than their vans, and help like increase the cool factor of it?
Yeah.
So we're having those conversations now. You know, part of my concern about Hanover is that we can't get out there enough just because of the distance. I'm afraid it won't be as much as I want it to be, but if we can get things started and we use it as proof of concept, then, you know, I think it will continue to grow, so.
Well, I think initially too, you don't wanna overextend yourself. So it really should be focused in on that visitor experience, the downtown experience, and then, you know, as the other trolley comes and you guys get acclimated and their staff, you know, breaking into those other areas potentially, but.
Yeah, I'm constantly torn between, I wanna start it the way we wanna do it and start strong and go big, versus the reality of like, let's start with what we know we can accomplish and do really well, and then continue to expand it. So, that's where we're going.
But I'd even like to, you know, I mean, it's a separate conversation, but I've just always felt like, you know, it's kind of like grooming your customer base, right? Like you're on offense, you set the precedent, and those freshmen coming in, like we need, even if BMI can't, like call me or something, like we'll go up there and let's get a booth and tell these freshmen, hey, every Friday at 4 o'clock and 9 o'clock, the trolley's coming through, and they're going downtown, they're going to Hilltop. I mean, something, I'm just making that up,
Yeah.
something to groom that customer base, because that leads into 4 years of that. And then that leads into some of the kids stay and they work at Super ATV, and they work in the school system, they work at KDH, and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's
powerful.
It's powerful, it just is. You
And
know?
that's
Or
one
they're
of the things.
visiting friends and relatives come.
Absolutely, and it doesn't have to be on the normal loop. But if there's a set time where it
Special times.
is,
Yeah,
and they can count on it, you know?
and that's one of the things we've talked about that's so cool with the trolley, is we will have the ability to influence other organizations, other businesses, other, you know, groups to do cool things too, because they want to associate themselves with the trolley. And so they're gonna say, well, when's the trolley running? Okay, well then I'm going to adjust my business's hours, or, you know, when I'm having an event, to match that. And so the trolley really has a power to help increase even more.
Sure.
Andrew, are you charging for services, or is that just case, you know, by case basis on the trolley?
So on trolley, there's like private events such as weddings,
Correct.
class reunions, all that. Of course, those are paid. Then we're gonna have private events such as I don't wanna say private events, but like a public event that's paid. So Taco Trolley Trail, the pub
Like
crawl,
an excursion of some sort.
an
It's an
excursion.
experience.
An experience.
It's a trolley experience.
Thank you.
Yes, that's okay.
Thank you. The trolley experience, so those are gonna be paid. Then there'd be free loop routes on certain days and times, and then there will be paid tours, like a 60 to 90 minute downtown tour. So there's like 4 different kinds of buckets that we're working in, and that adds to the complexity of it.
Of course.
Because there's, you know, we're trying to do some free stuff, trying to do paid stuff,
Right.
and we've got the private stuff on, you know, mostly Saturdays for weddings, and, you know, it's like, well, I wanna run tours on Saturdays,
Right.
because that's when there's a lot of visitors here, but those weddings, that's important. That's a big thing. Number one, to attract them here. They wanna use the trolley, but it's also a way to help fund the trolleys, those private events. So it's trying to find a schedule that meets all of those things.
Correct.
Is the signage for, and I don't know if this was lumped in or partnered with the city signage ask, but is the signage like the A-frame signage, or are we thinking more of like
On the
height signage? Because I did the A-frame signage, I just see so many guests trip out in front of A-frames on Main Street, and you know, I'm just wondering if that's like in the.
So right now, the plan is to stick with the A-frames while we continue to, work out, I won't say bugs, but like, do some of this on a regular basis. And then as those stops become more apparent, then transition to some kind of a permanent signage, especially with the city getting ready to do the total redo of Main Street. There's an opportunity when they do that to work on some more permanent signage. But for right now, we're gonna stick with the A-frames.
Yeah, sure.
What I don't wanna do with those more permanent metal signs, those are expensive. I don't wanna stick in places and then have to move them and put new vinyl on them and all that. So we're gonna stick with the A-frames for right now, and then look at a more permanent thing.
Yes.
I have one more question.
Okay.
When are you guys gonna get your last person? You're still missing a person.
Up
Because
to
we're
us.
gonna do all this work.
Thanks
Up
for
to the
waiting,
commissioners.
waiting on the commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still in the works.
Mhm.
Just saying, use the help.
Hey, board, thank you all. Thank you all. We don't get paid very well. We pay others. Happy birthday. And April 21st, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.